Thanks for joining me, everybody. As you can see, we just started 14.5 meters. We're straight over our pellet line. Got a nice big expander on over that, and just see if they're there already. Didn't happen. So we've gone over our chop worm, and we've chopped a bit of corn up with it as well, because I've heard a few people been catching quality fish on there with corn, but I've not been on this lake for about 7 weeks because we've been on Brick Lake, haven't we? We had our 3 matches on Brick Lake on the trot, so not a great sign that. We tried corn, tried worm, so we've gone to single maggot, had that roach, and then half an hour in, finally we've hooked one, and already having to wait half an hour is starting to make me think, yeah, I probably overcooked it, to be honest, but we'll see. But we got one on now, which is great. We fished the 5th round already. The 5th round, I was on Brick Lake, peg 20 in the corner, unfortunately. I had Tom next to me on 19, who's a good angler, and he left sort of no stone unturned, really. He fed a short line, a long line on the pole, waggler and corn, so he never really left me anywhere where I could sort of draw fish in, so I just had to catch what was there. I caught a lot of small skimmers. I had £17, but Tom won the section with £19, so we got a second. Don't think we've had the best of draws, but we're still in with a shout. I think we're sort of top 8, still in with a shout. And finally we hooked one over the pellet, but it's on maggot rather than pellet. We've just gone over it with a single maggot, and it must have stuck out over that pellet because we've managed to nab one. It's just going nice and steady as always, no rush. Won't just rushing fish. It's taking ages to get one to bite. It's pointless rushing them in. Normal massive landing nets provided by Sedges. Same for everyone. Yeah, it looks like a feisty little hybrid actually. Clear water, they go nuts. So an hour in and we're in trouble, really. We got this very wrong. We've definitely overcooked it, and I'm kicking myself already. It's not something I generally do, but I've just come back from a week at Stafford Moor, where we've been fishing a little bit more positively on tanners and woodies and things, and I've done the same here, and it ain't really right. So decision time. An hour in, and I'm deciding to start a new line at 13 meters and just sprinkle a little bit of sort of micro and a few dampen 4 mils in with it, just a tiny amount, which is generally how I would fish it, certainly on one of the lines. But the only trouble is with this now is I'm doing this inside of 2 positively fed 14.5 meter lines, so it's really about trying to recoup the peg now the best we can. So we just nip out to 13. Going to tap those few pellets in, and we'll plumb up at the same time, look. So that way we're feeding it, and we're not wasting any time. We're getting a look at the sort of depth of the peg as well. Well, can you Adam and Eve it? What a start, really. So putting that aside, we have one on our 13-meter line as you've seen, and then we've just gone over our pellet line with maggot again, and we've managed one there. But we're having to swap all the lines round like mad. Really, we're working very hard for just an odd fish here and odd fish there. We've not lined anything up on one line at all at the moment, and I'm kicking myself. That's me feeling too positive at the start. I mean, it's a well-old saying, isn't it? You know, you can put more in, but you can't take it out. But so we'll keep persevering like that, and just see if we can get the peg back really. So small fish over that pellet line, and we top up the chop worm line now. Not much, just a little ball of chop worm, and I've cut the corn out of that as well. That hadn't been happening, so I've just cut that out. So look on the 13-meter line. And we are on pellet on that line. Nice small sort of hand-sized skimmers. The only problem with this 13-meter line, never went on there now, but the only problem with that is we've been fed it inside of two very positive 14.5-meter lines, haven't we? I haven't topped up that positive pellet line. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep dropping over it, taking an odd fish if one's there, and just sort of let that line peter out because I well and truly overcooked that. Worm line is yielding an odd sort of quality fish, so I'm going to just keep putting a tiny bit in there because I don't feel this 13-meter line is good enough for me to just depend on that line alone. But already I'm thinking I want to get it to a stage where I stop feeding those two long lines altogether and just focus on this 13-meter line. But it's not strong enough yet. As I say, it's probably because we've fed it inside of those two sort of heavily fed 14.5-meter lines, but it is what it is. So we tap a few pellets in there at 13 and then just hop out back over that pellet line, see if we can nab one. No good, so we're back over the worm line again. Just maggot on the hook. Yeah, and as we were saying, that worm line's definitely chucking up an odd fish, isn't it? Although I'm not over happy about putting in something like chop worm, which all that scent can pull fish in past what is now me sort of new pellet line, my 13-meter pellet line. But as I said, I don't feel that pellet line is going to come strong enough at 13 meters yet. So I'm going to keep both those lines going, and then the positive pellet line at 14.5. We're not feeding; we're just dropping in that and catching the odd fish and sort of waiting for that line to peter out. Really, let it die off. But yeah, that worm line's definitely yielding a. Oh, they're bream, aren't they? 2.5 pound fish. No more follow that. So just going to top up that worm line again. But put a few maggots in with the worms, and just a little touch of micro as well, and a little bit of the earth from the worm as well. We chop it up and make it into like a stodgy little ball. We pour it back out in my hand out the cup, and then just make a stodgy little ball and drop it in back into the cup. The reason I cut the worms up in the cup is because it's nice and circular, and you'll find they chop up a lot more even. Whenever you try and chop in a sort of bait box, they always end up in the corner, don't they? And it's difficult to get in there and chop them up right. They always end up with some bits a bit too long, etc. So there we go, just dropping a little bit of worm in there. Then we just try that. We tried the pellet lines, no good. So back over the worm line. It's starting to feel like worms the right thing, isn't it, today? I don't normally bring worms down here. I only had them because I had them left from Stafford, to be honest. A small one this time. They all came. That feels a little bit better. Well, the sun's come out nice and bright now, isn't it? So back on that 13 metre line. Got a bite on that now on pellet. And as we were saying earlier, yeah, we just come back from Stafford Moor. Had a good week down there, sort of silvers fishing. This match, to be honest, is probably the last of my winter silvers campaign now. That I'll be back carping now, really, after this match. It's not been as good this year as years I have had, to be honest. We've been fairly consistent, but I haven't really had quite the results I have in the past, if I'm honest. But you've got to be your own worst critic, haven't you, I think? Otherwise you just you don't get any better. If you just believe that you've done everything right all the time, you're never going to learn anything, are you? So back on that 14.5 metre worm line again. Just keeps yielding a few fish, that, doesn't it? A little top up ball and we go over it, have a couple of fish. Sean's catching steady to my left, but it's just sort of, he's catching sort of small fish, but he's been very steady from the start. He didn't overcook his peg. Doing it right, to be fair to him. It's fair play. We haven't got anywhere near as many fish, but I do feel we've had one or two better samples. So yeah, mate, I made the decision, and we're just fed a little bit of chop worm on that 13 metre line. So we've gone back over the pellet line for the last time, that positively fed pellet line. We've nabbed one on maggot over it, and the worm just feels right on that long line. So I've stopped feeding that long line, and I've started to put little balls of worm on the 13 metre line. Every time I go out on these two 14.5 metre lines, and I'm feeding nothing at 14.5 metres now, I'm trying for those two lines to sort of fade away, just fish them out, and I'm putting in top up little balls, as I say, just marble size on that 30 metre line, trying to draw all the fish I can into that one line, and I'm hoping to focus on that one line for the sort of last hour of the match, um, and catch some better fish, to be honest, and just focus on that one line. Oh, lovely fishing. We've had some cracking fish on this worm line now. Win or lose, it's a lovely day's fishing, especially now everything's sort of settled down. I'm just fishing one line. This is what really I should have been fishing 13 metres at the start. Had pot pellets off to me left or right, and then this worm on the opposite side, and that's it really. Been a nice simple day, wouldn't it? Overcomplicated it. Choked the peg straight away. Really, very slow start, bit of a slow middle as well, but ending well now, ending strong. Um, yeah, Worm was definitely right today. Oh, just lovely fishing. Sedges is brilliant for that, mind. There must be 40 blokes down here over the two lakes. and you catch skimmers on any peg. I mean, what more can you ask for, really? It's been very varied this year, though. I think a lot more sort of tactics have come into more sort of corn and waggler. Waggler and maggot been doing some damage for some people as well. There's always a little bit of feeder fishing, pole fishing, obviously. Um, but yeah, it's been good, and I think the anglers down here have got better at it as well. If I'm honest, so fair play to them. Been a really great series. Will I do it all again next year? Absolutely. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for the results.